Let's talk a little bit about the alleged things that are going on, right? So as we've
Let's.
already been talking about a little bit before, across the country, ICE, CBP, other federal agencies ramping up their violent crusade against anybody basically that they fucking want to.
Yeah.
The administration, in conjunction with the Supreme Court, has given ICE the authority to round up and detain anyone they want while they're out on the streets based on their skin color, accent, language, location, and virtually any other characteristic that could be used to other somebody.
The Supreme Court enshrined racism into our legal system. Right fucking there. Literally enshrined a racial element into our legal system where none had existed before.
And also like famous, like a country that famously is not explicitly bound to any, is not explicitly bound to any one official language, just predominant use of a language.
That's going to become
othering people
quick.
based on their language is just like, again, it's a prime slap in the face of anything that might have been held as a lofty ideal of the better parts of the United States.
And again, our jurisprudence is very much built upon that, because so much of it is using the Latin language and referencing back essentially to the historical beginnings of these ideas and such. There's a continuum that exists there within the legal world. Kind of linguistically and historically,
right? Absolutely. Yeah. If the United States, if in the United States English is the official language, then we've got a lot of translating to do. A lot of work.
Bibles are going to have to get gotten rid of. Anything pre-King James.
Nice try, Catholics.
Yep, they're going to feel that one.
I mean, it's been a while since we've had some legitimate, like almost codified bigotry against Catholics in our political structure in this country. Bringing that back would, really harken back to the old days. Really make me feel like JFK is alive again.
That's going to become a minority group again real soon.
Soon enough, you got to cleave away at your in-group.
I heard. I'm not going to take credit for this, but I heard someone say, "No shade of whiteness is going to save you at this point."
Yeah,
that circle is going to keep getting smaller.
It gets smaller. I mean, like we had mentioned at one point last night, man. If the in-group is just Donald Trump and Stephen Miller, they're still going to build a wall between them. They will do it. It's unending.
Essentially. And even if they're on your team, you're always scheming against them and playing one against the other.
It's because it's such a hostile world. How can you trust your best friend? Exactly. You've got so many enemies out there. Surely your best friend has to be one too.
But theoretically, so much of what they are all about is built on loyalty and.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Big fucking jack.
That breaks down real quick.
Yeah. So, in regards to ICE and CBP again, though, and performing the detainment operations, the assault and murder by ICE has also been explicitly supported by Stephen Miller and JD Vance, who's kind of walked back his comments on this a little bit, but not really. But basically, Stephen Miller, especially, repeatedly stating that agents have complete legal immunity while carrying out their overt terrorism in these environments, in these communities. You just do whatever the fuck you want, apparently. And they'll cover for you.
How is that statement not being challenged legally by someone with the means? The ACLU. I mean, I guess the legal barrier for them to take up a case is probably being used against them pretty heavily. But
I mean, the situation with Renee Good's killer, Jonathan Ross, and looking for meaningful repercussions there for his behavior in murdering this woman. I think that is like a prime battleground for exactly that. Listen, if nothing else, all the quote unquote controversy, which I don't really feel is very controversial, she was overtly murdered, but let's just accept their framing for this argument for some stupid fucking reason. But okay,
Yeah.
This
Grant them
controversial.
that, sure, in theory. Okay, whatever.
This is exactly what juries are for. This is exactly what the legal system is for, is weighing the evidence and the credibility of witness statements and that evidence and arguments about if this act was in fact criminally illegal, or if he was acting appropriately. Like, they're afraid to go to trial, though. Clearly they're afraid to go to trial. Like, it's
And again,
obvious.
the Supreme Court just did this. It made them essentially the jury and executioner at this point. Maybe not judge, jury, and executioner yet, but I was speaking about judicial versus actual, or the what do they call the shitty ones they're trying to pass off as
The
an actual
administrative warrants.
administrative. Thank you. Yeah.
Mm.
Like,
that is the judge part, though. I mean, that's them taking over the judicial part of that. Like, that's that last.
They're making that decision. They're doing what the jury should be doing there.
Not even the jury. I mean, what
the
the judge should be doing. The judge declares that judicial warrant to be valid, signs off on it, like actually authorizes it to go through. And they're trying to say, well, we don't need fucking judges. We can put all of this under the power.
They're essentially taking the jury decision upon themselves. They're saying, like, we don't need the jury. We're deciding that they're the bad guy.
Oh yeah. They're holding up all three. Yeah, all three parts of that. Like, the suggestion is we can go into people's homes and snatch them up, go into private areas and snatch people up based off of an administrative warrant, which I was going to mention here. This memo released by a whistleblower inside of ICE that lays the groundwork for subversion of the Fourth Amendment. J.D. Vance particularly spending a lot of time trying to lawyer this shit up and muddling the difference between administrative warrants and judicial warrants. But to be explicit, an administrative warrant is basically just saying we are going to arrest this person. A judicial warrant says you can go into their home, you can actively pursue this person and use due force to apprehend them in their home and in private areas of businesses, etc. Like, one is more of a passive statement. An administrative warrant, like, for example, if you had an administrative warrant for an immigration violation and you were stopped by the police for speeding, they could pick you up with that administrative warrant. You were in a public area. They have otherwise apprehended you. They have positively identified you as, being subject to this administrative warrant. They could pick you up there. But a judicial warrant gives them the right to proactively pursue you and pick you up.
Your home, violate your persons and private effects, what have you.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like they're trying to play all ranges of the legislative, the government, like all branches of the government, as well as all parts of what we see as the integral identities involved in law enforcement. You got the judge, the jury, the executioner. They're trying to do all of those.
All leads into the unitary executive theory. It's like everything rules from the top down mindset.
I think we have a word for that.
It neuters the wisdom of the masses and, like, puts it all in one set of hands.
Yeah, I feel like we have a word for that. It might be dictatorship. I don't know. Listen, I don't want to be too hyperbolic about the Trump administration.
Tone it down a little there. You shouldn't really be calling them dictators. They haven't overtly and openly canceled elections or bibbed on them yet. So
it's true.
We don't have definitive proof that they've cheated in the previous elections, so nothing you can do. Sorry.
Listen, Congress still exists. How can you call this a dictatorship?
Exactly. There's branches. They exist.
There are still branches.
There's a Supreme Court. There's 9 of them that show up and do things,
There's
like
totally 9 of them. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
It's not like 4.5 robots and
3 gnomes in a human suit, and
in a human suit, yeah. Um,
mm,
but yeah, so as we look at all this, it's very clear to see, though, with the authority that Stephen Miller and Vance and Trump himself are trying to grant to ICE agents to just do whatever the fuck they want to.
yep.
It's clear to see that Stephen Miller and his tiny dick warriors for Trump, they're not content with just using this authority to detain, assault, and kill non-citizens. Though
Well, no,
they're
they're up in their game.
facing, yeah, I mean, they're facing resistance from citizens. They're in situations where, I mean, one of these citizens might speak Spanish, and that's very suspicious. That's a narco terrorist, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Um, so they've
Immediate, like, terrorist, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So they've added out the outright execution of U.S. citizens to their list of permissions, which is
That
included,
is on the table.
and it includes, but is not limited to, Renee Good, who was brutally murdered on January 7th, but also yesterday, January 24th, Alex Pretti, killed by federal agents that swarmed him, beat him about the head, and kicked him. Um, I believe they used a pepper spray canister to hit him in the head while he was fully subdued. I mean, there's no world
Oh,
where he was not at this point fully subdued. And I will say, we're going to get into some of specifically what happened and what people are saying happened.
I would be
Uh,
happy to, because I've seen this from every angle, frame by frame, and I've got some serious insight I would like to drop into the situation.
there's one thing I want to point out in all of this, because I feel like a lot of people are going to be already familiar with video footage before they get to us talking about it. But the local police, they're determined, or sorry, not the local, it's I think it's the BCA, which is a Bureau of Criminal Apprehension in Minnesota,
Yeah,
which is uh, it's a part of their
yeah,
local law enforcement. It's almost indistinguishable from the police, but they're not like doing patrols and shit. They're more of an investigative unit. But
yeah.
the BCA statement, as I recall, said that the weapon that Alex Pretti did have on his person was surrendered, and it makes me feel like in the scuffle he might have said, "I have a gun in a
He
holster on
absolutely
my,"
did.
something like that, and you can
He
tell
did the
there is
exact responsible thing that a
the
gun
thing you're
owner
supposed to do.
is taught to do. He did everything exactly by the book in that
and
situation.
and there's
They
there's
knew. This is what I wanted to get at. It was completely premeditated. The guy that took the gun away from him, he identified it. I don't know when he identified it. By the time they were physically dealing with them, he knew that he was armed. I think he knew beforehand. I think he'd scoped him out. I don't know.
so
Or was
so
just taking
I've
an
got
educated guess.
I've
But
got thoughts about that. Yeah, yeah,
okay,
yeah.
as you know then that, like, the rest of the guys are the ones mostly putting hands on him, and he's kinda lurking around the perimeter of what they're doing with him. He's waiting for him to say that, 1, to acknowledge that he has a gun, and he's waiting for his opportunity to grab it. Because you wait until he moves around, he gets that opportunity, reaches in there, pulls it out, specifically says, "I've got his gun," or he specifically says, "His gun." And then you hear the other guy, someone else say, "He's got a gun." Pop, 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 pop.
Got it. I
That
so
is
so
that was a when you look at it enough times, it becomes kind of apparent that it was at least, if not a coordinated or a choreographed, a something they were kinda of the same mind on. Like they
So
knew they knew the cover words to say to give themselves plausible deniability. He
right.
was saying, and he can claim saying I've got his gun is doing the right thing. The other guy can equally easily claim he heard he's got a gun and see him try to struggle and
Mhm.
use that as justification to unload on him.
I possible. So here I've got a couple thoughts about this. So the when Alex turns after he's been pepper sprayed and he's trying to help this woman up that's behind him, which we'll watch the one of the clips. There's so many angles out there and we can look at other ones if you like, but there's one I feel like that honestly it's not the pink coat angle, which I think does show some important stuff, but it's another angle that I think honestly if you only had that you know exactly still what happened.
Mhm.
Um,
It's the
but
opposite angle where you see the big tan uh, jacketed guy with the gun in his hand as
well,
it.
so there's you see the guy, yeah, exactly, when he's walking away with the gun. But so when Alex turns, we know that the gun was on his back, like the back of his right hip, basically, like his lower back,
Mhm.
kind of right side, which makes some sense if he's right-handed. Um,
Yeah, it's probably the most predominant holster placement.
Which, and I will say though, behind you is a considerably more passive location to store your weapon than even just to the side. Anybody that's ever
Makes
actually
it a little more
handled the
concealable.
firearm has ever done anything for like a concealed carry class, has ever looked into like holsters for concealed carry or even open carry. They can tell you reaching back here is considerably more risky in a moment where you feel like you need to
Yeah,
defend yourself
it's your
than
slowest. It's your
than
slowest
right.
access
Yeah.
position.
So
For pure speed, the appendix holster is probably the best. It's
yeah, yeah,
minimum distance from your hand
because
to
it's
the
just right. It's
tip
just
of the
right there.
weapon. It's a straight movement. Like
Right.
it's the highest risk as for any accidental discharge.
Yeah. If you like potentially shooting yourself in the dick, it's a
Unless you want to be a eunuch. I mean, each your own.
uh but so the gun is we know what the gun was, and it wouldn't surprise me if the agent, the CBP agent that pepper sprayed him saw it because it looks like his jacket comes up a little bit when he is trying to help this woman up because he like puts his arms out to try to help this. He's like kind of over her a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if they might have seen it there.
It could be, yeah.
And I will say immediately that itself is no reason to apprehend him. The
No,
presence of a firearm
it's an open
concealed on a
carry state.
person. Yeah, it's an open carry. It's open carry. It's concealed carry. He has a license for it.
Yeah,
And he
but
wasn't
that license isn't
acting,
even required. Like it's
but he wasn't acting violently.
yeah,
So seeing a weapon is that's exactly when if you were concerned about a person potentially escalating that now you've identified they do have a weapon, that's when you try to you bring other officers if you're police to assist you, and you try to
to
de-escalate
confront
and
the
say,
person
hey,
slowly and rationally,
yeah, you say, no, let me
if
see
that's
your
what you
hands.
actually fear. If you're actually in fear.
If you're actually, and the
If
first
you're
thing you
actually in
want to,
fear, you jump out of the way of a slow-moving SUV on the ice too.
right, yeah, but the idea is that you look for it, you try to get this person's hands, you try to get visibility on where their hands are, and again, anybody that's trained at all is going to know that is with what he's doing. This is the furthest. It's literally there's
Dude,
no,
it shocks me how bad these people are at this.
yeah,
Because like I've spent a lot of years dealing with people coming out of surgery and like just imagine like having the craziest drunk muscle of your life,
mm,
taking that and completely eliminating any barriers that were still there. Like
mm,
it's at times when they're in like pure fight or flight, it's like essentially they've got access to everything.
mm.
It's insane how much a completely non-thinking person, for the most part, that you can't get through like that, can like put up a resistance on you.
Hmm.
But having dealt with that with smaller groups of people that aren't decked out in a bajillion pounds of military gear, we somehow manage to control these people long enough to get the upper hand in the situation
Hmm.
without like having to kill them or that kind of thing.
Surprise.
Yeah,
Well, especially when
it's
you've got
it's
overwhelming
doable, you
force.
know.
But so there's another spot where I think they might have located the weapon. And this is what makes me think that in uh like coincides with what we heard from, I think it was the BCA. I don't recall. It was some sort of Minnesota law enforcement that talked about it. It
Yep.
wasn't Cash Patel for sure, or the DOJ or anything like that. But so the statement was that the weapon was surrendered. There's a spot where he is already on the ground. He's holding himself up kind of with his hands, swarmed by
Yep.
people. He clearly has no ability to access,
None
to
whatsoever.
move a weapon. So I believe it's possible he might have said at that point that he had a weapon, or there is actually an agent that is on his right side by his right shoulder that could see the weapon. And I'm not sure. Again, I don't know. I haven't really been able to hear much of the agents from the video stuff that I've looked at,
Yep.
and what they might be saying to each other. So there's gaps to fill in there for myself for sure. But it wouldn't surprise me if he said that he had the weapon, or the agent saw the weapon there and tells the other guy that we see that walks away with it, get
Yep.
this gun.
No, I think that dude
And
knew about it the whole time. I think he was aware of it, and that's why he was circling the perimeter
he
of
looks
the
kind of
access
lost to me. I will say he looks like he doesn't know what to fucking do because
at
he's just kind
first.
of
At first,
an extra
because he's
person
just
in
like
a
he's
scrum.
bouncing around all. No,
Yeah,
he's constantly just lurking around the outside, picking and choosing. Like I'm not saying he's great at it. I'm not saying this dude's like some
no, no, none of
super
them.
soldier. Like no, far from it. But he has an agenda, and it's apparent when you look at it through that lens.
Um. So yeah, I've got this clip. This is as it aired on MS Now. This is just one of the perspectives. Uh, I can post a timestamp, I suppose, for people that might want to skip this if they've already seen it enough, or if they don't want. It is pretty hard to watch,
Yeah.
and it's also very loud and disorienting to watch. But I encourage you to at least try at some point
Yes, do it.
to
Do it
see
when
the.
you have the capability. It's not always within all of us right now. Like I if you could go back and look at it, you'll see me probably talking to Amy in here when I first noticed that letter from the parents came through, and
Hmm.
man, I reacted hard just to that, and had to talk about like I can't. I just think I can do that right now.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be a
yeah,
wreck going forward if I try it. Like
yeah. It's extremely difficult.
so, like I get it. Like if you can't deal with all of that in
Hmm.
any given moment, take the time you need to process this crap because it's not. This isn't normal. This isn't how our society usually works. You're not wrong for thinking all of this is insane.
Yeah, just because it didn't happen to you or somebody you directly know doesn't mean it's not impactful to you, and that empathy is important. Don't lose that.
Yep. Yep. Much more well put. Thank you.
All right, let's watch this as it aired on MS Now.
Yep.
One of the times yesterday.
MS Now has new footage showing the moments leading up to that deadly shooting. And we want to warn our viewers that you may find this footage disturbing.
yeah. Again, her just I don't think you need I don't think you need other angles. I
You
don't
really don't. But
I
the
don't
more
see
you
why you need it.
dissect this, the more apparent it becomes. It's
Right.
just
Right.
it, I don't even know. I don't even know how to phrase it.
And so let's recap really quick too for somebody that
Yes,
maybe
please.
didn't watch. Somebody that skipped this. The breakdown is we see Alex holding a phone. He's in the road at one point, guiding a vehicle along. It doesn't look to be like any kind of enforcement vehicle. It's just it looks like just a regular commuter
Regular
SUV.
SUV, yeah.
Waves them along, walks over to the side of the road. He's filming federal agents with their phone. There's federal agents can be seen pushing people around, shoving this woman. Again, I don't know what law enforcement training says that's an appropriate way to handle people is to just shove them into other
Violently,
vehicles and into the ground.
yeah.
Violent, yeah. I mean, it's
When you
that
have
on
a
its own
massive
is
power differential, like
right.
what if that dude did that to your kid? Like, would you be fine with that?
Right, exactly. And so this woman that's near Alex is shoved to the ground by an agent. Alex attempts to put himself in between the agent and this woman that's on the ground. She's just toppled over completely, and immediately,
As soon as she got pushed the first time, he immediately recognized that and went to put himself
right.
between the agent and her. That was his
And
first instinct, and it was his driving purpose the whole time. Like, he was clinging to her because he didn't know what they were trying to do to her. He thought the best thing he could do was just to be a human shield around her.
Let's try to shield exactly. But before he really turns to kind of hold over her, he tries to put himself in the way in between them. Immediately, the agent deploys pepper spray, extremely close range, basically point blank, right in his face. Alex turns a little bit to attempt to shield himself and keeps turning to then try to help this woman. He's either trying to shield her or potentially help her up. It kind of looks like he's sort of doing both. He's putting himself between the threat, trying to help her get up so she can move away from the area. There's snow packed in on the sidewalk. It's a slippery,
it's chaotic. Everything about it's loud and chaotic and insane. Like, average people aren't used to dealing with that.
And immediately, with Alex, with his back turned to the agent that has just pepper sprayed him, with his hands on this woman to try to help her, he's swarmed. The both of them are swarmed by at least a half a dozen, looks like up to 9 agents at any given time are in this scuffle, just depending on which part of you're looking at, who's handling the woman, who's handling Alex. Most of them dogpile onto Alex, force him to the ground. He's face down on the ground. His hands are, from the view we just watched, his hands are very clearly in front of and under him while he's on the ground. They are not reaching for anything.
No.
He's not hitting. He's not even able
bending his face. He's trying to be able to keep breathing and not be hit
and not be smothered.
Like, it's your natural instinct, and not be smothered and crushed.
I think being smothered and crushed, it seems like, was the thing he was trying to defend against the most, because he's not able to defend himself from getting hit repeatedly in the head with what appears to be a pepper spray canister multiple times. Again, I don't understand where the training for that fucking came from in their 5.5 days of vacation before they got sent out on the fucking street. But his hands are clearly empty.
Thank God they're getting more money. Like, they're going to get so much better training now.
To
make everything better.
7 Democrats in the House. I thank you.
Every one of them.
But one of the agents turns away from there's multiple agents on him. There's an agent in a gray coat that is kind of over Alex's left side, reach and kind of over his left side as he's prostrate over this dog pile again of people. I mean, it looks like it was a scramble for a fumble at the Super Bowl.
Right.
And he pulls back from over Alex and walks away from the scuffle with a weapon. He has with a pistol. He's clearly stepped away. No shots have been fired. to this point, clearly moved away with a weapon that is purported to be Alex's gun. So Alex at this point is not only with his hands out in front of him, prostrate under a dog pile of people, but he has been completely disarmed. And then the first shot rings out. Alex immediately seems to completely crumple, and then more shots come out afterwards.
Totally necessary.
I think the report has varied between
like
6 and 10 shots. 9 shots seems to be the number that I've seen the most of. But
I haven't listened to it close enough. It'd be pretty easy to count if we were to go and do so. But like,
well, and I would think reasonably, especially with the gap in time between the first and second shot, very reasonably there are. Even if we were to give it to the framing that somehow Alex was violent and reaching for his weapon and trying to kill somebody after the first shot with all the people on him, he's clearly subdued. So there are at the very least 5 extra shots that are beyond what could ever be required.
Raining is fucking playing Call of Duty for 47 days. And they fucking straight up say it in public. Like, this is so cool. It's just like playing Call of Duty.
But I just want to give you after that breakdown. I want to compare breakdowns here really quick. I want to compare observations of what we just saw.
Kyle Rittenhouse's treatment.
Well, no, actually, I want to compare what we just described with what DHS immediately described.
Immediately, yeah.
So on their
there might be a little discrepancy.
Oh, maybe a little bit. We'll see though. It should be minor. Sound-minded federal law enforcement of this caliber.
Absolutely.
You know,
the highest in the legal world.
Right. So on their X account, Homeland Security, 9:05 a.m. as DHS law enforcement officers were conducting a targeted operation in Minneapolis against an illegal alien wanted for violent assault, which I'll just interject here really quick. They keep bringing this up as if
that's justification for
killing people? Right. And also, like, again, you know, the due process, the lack of due process in all of this, it doesn't matter what they're wanted for. You have to go through the appropriate channels, or none of this shit matters, or there are no principles. That's how it works.
Doesn't. There isn't. That's where we are at without due process in the legal system.
Right.
Nothing else. The points don't matter at this point.
So
the rules are made up, and the points don't matter.
Fucking Calvin Ball, man, every day. As
well,
DHS
who's lying, but
okay, yeah, there's that too, but
also both,
yeah.
That's how law enforcement should be run.
As DHS law enforcement officers were conducting a targeted operation in Minneapolis against an illegal alien wanted for violent assault, an individual approached U.S. Border Patrol officers with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun, seen here, and they show a photo of the gun after apprehension. The officers attempted to disarm the suspect, but the armed suspect violently resisted. More details on the armed struggle are forthcoming. Fearing for his life and the lives and safety of fellow officers, an agent fired defensive shots. Medics on scene immediately delivered medical aid to the subject, but was pronounced dead at the scene. The suspect also had 2 magazines and no ID. This looks like a situation where an individual wanted to do maximum damage and massacre law enforcement. About 200 rioters arrived at the scene and began to obstruct and assault law enforcement on the scene. Crowd control measures were deployed for the safety of the public and law enforcement. The situation is evolving, and more information is forthcoming. So that's the description immediately from DHS compared to what I just described. Was that Alex approached U.S. Border Patrol with a handgun. So the implication is that he was brandishing a weapon. Was violently resisted being disarmed, which, if we're to believe that he was already brandishing the weapon, you could presume that he was striking officers with it, or aiming it at
Sure.
officers, threatening to harm them,
using it in
try
some
to disarm them.
aggressive manner. Yeah.
Using it in some manner, and then fearing for his life and the lives and safeties of fellow officers, an agent fired defensive shots, which sort of implicates that he didn't, I don't know, shoot him in the back, like we see.
Hard for those to be defensive, I would think. But
yeah, generally
what
speaking,
do I know? I'm not in law enforcement. I've had 47 days of training.
Generally speaking, in every situation that I've heard of, in states that don't have a very, very specific interpretation of essentially the castle doctrine, if somebody is even violent, has even already assaulted you, but they have turned their back to flee, let's say, and you fire upon them and kill them by shooting them in the back, right? That generally is still a
Chasing
legal
people
problem.
down and killing them, gets real problematic real quick.
It turns into vigilante justice very fast.
Thank you. That's exactly what I was going to say.